Guys, you know what, I probably said it 100 times when I was a kid or when I was younger. I didn't ask to be born to my parents, and I'm sure some of you have said it as well. But when I look back, I think maybe I did have something to do with asking to be born. Maybe I didn't get all my own choices, but I assure you, I got the best choice when it come to America and muscle cars. I ain't playing with you, folks. Uh, I started school in the 60s. By the time I was in junior high, was the 70s. Early. By the time we were in high school, folks, our parking lot looked like a classic muscle car show of today. I ain't playing with you. I'm talking about the mid 70s. The muscle cars all came from the 60s and the. I don't even like to go up into the 70s at all, but I do have to say 60s and 70s. But after they stopped allowing certain motors to be put into cars, I don't claim it muscle car era after that. But when by the time I got to high school, the 426s were, let's see, 5 years from the last one being put in a stock car. In a car that a civilian could buy from the factory. A 426 Hemi. People, we had all the big blocks, all of them, all of them, in our parking lot. Cars at 150 mile an hour were nothing, rolling off of the showroom floor. Carbureted. Not all this electronic stuff you have today, folks. We're talking about straight up motors, carburetors, and suspension and shit like that. Stuff you guys couldn't even drive today. These cars you guys drive today drive themselves. You don't drive them. You just keep them within the lines. And you'll be blamed for any damage they do. But it ain't nothing like the cars we used to drive. My first car didn't even have power brakes in it. Driven many vehicles didn't have power steering, air conditioning. I've driven split shift dump trucks that you had to take your hands off the wheel in order to shift. You had to grab one lever with one left hand, one lever with the other hand, and shift them in the opposite direction. It was a split shift transmission. Couldn't even have, you had no hands on the steering wheel. We had 3 speeds on the column, shifting on the column manually. Most of these clowns that are driving these Hellcats and all these $100,000 or more cars today, they couldn't have handled a 440 Roadrunner or a Barracuda or a Challenger, 440 Magnum 6-pack in it, or a 426. Now, some people claim the 426 had more horsepower than the 440. I don't believe that, but some people claim they did. I'll give you either one. These kids of today that are driving these Hellcats and stuff wouldn't have made it 2 seconds slamming on a daggone 440 Magnum 6-pack and trying to hang on to that. Doesn't have all that traction control and steering control and braking control. Didn't get all that shit. Front disc brakes, rear drum, no traction control. You guys, you don't even know about in the 60s and 70s, the drive-in movie theaters. So you guys missed out on all that. Talking about make-out places. Hey, you want to go see a movie with me this weekend at the movie theater? Yeah, it's a date. I think they have some here and there. You guys, I wouldn't have picked any other time to exist if I would have been given the choice. I wouldn't. I'm allergic to horses. So going back, well, I don't know if I would have been 200 years ago, 100 years ago. But if that was me back then, I would have been walking. I'd have been in real trouble. But I wouldn't pick any other time to be alive than when I was born. I have to say, if nothing else, just for the cars. God loves you. I love you. And Jesus drove a Plymouth. He couldn't love you anymore. I love you guys.